Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Duck Zone. And we are fully in the football season now. 1 week of the NFL, 1 week of the NCAA season done, and we're going into week one of the NFL season. I'm super excited. James, how are you feeling about it? This is, in my opinion, the best season of them all.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back into NFL season. We got our whistle wet last weekend with the official week one. I know we had week zero the week before with a couple games, but it was fun having college back last Saturday. But I'm ready to roll, and I'm ready for red zone and fantasy football and all the jazz.
Yeah, I'm super excited. It came in quick, and we're gonna just jump right on into it, and we're gonna make our season predictions right at the beginning here. We're gonna start with our division winners. So I'm just gonna say division, and James, you just pick your winner. We're gonna start with the NFC West.
Well, it pains me as a Cardinals fan not to pick them, but we're still a year, maybe 2 years away. But I got the 49ers. I think they have the most playmakers. They're coming off the division last year, and I just think that another year of Brock Purdy under center, they're just going to be that much better offensively, and they still have a really good defense.
I agree with you. I am also taking the 49ers. Let's go to the NFC North.
I like the Lions. I again a lot of playmakers. They're still really young, so another year under the belt for Amon Ra, for Jameer Gibbs, guys like that. And I think Jared Goff is a very, very solid quarterback.
So we're two for two here. I also have the Lions. NFC South.
So this one was a little struggle for me. I'm going with the Falcons. Again, they have a ton of weapons, and I think they're going to be used correctly finally with Arthur Smith out. Kirk Cousins came in. Their defense, I'm not too sure of, but I think with guys like Bijan, Kyle Pitts, even though I think I saw he had a hamstring injury today, we'll know about more about that obviously in the next couple days or not. Drake London, if they use correctly, they have Ferraris.
We are three for three. I also have the Falcons. NFC East.
Unfortunately, again, being a Cardinals fan, this is one of my rivals. I have the Cowboys. I think defensively with Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs is going to be back, hopefully healthy. We'll see. And yeah, I think CD Lamb and Dak are just unstoppable when used correctly. So I like the Cowboys.
So the streak ends there. I've got Philadelphia. I think they go back to their old ways, a lot of weapons. I think the Cowboys, not knowing what they're going to have as a running game, might hurt them. I'm going to take Philly, but I do believe it's going to be a neck and neck race, kind of like we've seen the last couple years between Philly and Dallas. It may come down to injuries in the end of that one. We'll jump over to the AFC West, which I think is actually the easiest one. We'll start there.
Yeah, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I got the Chiefs.
Yep, same here. I got the Chiefs. Uh, Probably one of the hardest divisions now, the AFC North.
So I really, really, really wanted to go with the Browns here. I'm just not sure what Deshaun Watson's going to be like. He has a lot to. This is a big prove it season for him. So I'm going with the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's lost some weight in the offseason. We'll see if that hinders him at all. I don't think running wise will be a factor, but if he takes a bunch of hits, I don't know. We'll see. Zay Flowers, another year with him. And then if Mark Andrews can stay healthy, I just think that offense is too high powered for the rest of that division.
Yeah, I also took the Ravens. I took the Ravens for a reason actually you didn't mention. I think the acquisition of Derrick Henry is going to be important. I think him coming, a backfield of Lamar and him is going to be tough, especially if Derrick Henry can stay healthy. I really wanted to take Cincinnati, um, but I just feel like the Ravens. If everyone stays healthy, you can pencil in 12 wins. So
They're
that's
going to
tough.
run the ball a ton, and they're coming off a huge, huge season defensively, which I think stays. I know they lost Patrick Queen, but I still think their defense is going to be pretty close to elite.
Yeah. Another hard division to pick, AFC South.
Yeah, I had a tough one with this one too. I ended up going with the Texans again. I think Stroud is the real deal. He doesn't turn the ball over. He had 5 interceptions total last year as a rookie, which is insane. So anyone, if you're a Bears fan or a Commanders fan, no matter how good Jalen Daniels and Caleb Williams are, they're going to turn the ball over more than 5 times. That's unheard of. Um, but I think the acquisition of Diggs and Joe Mixon just completely, again, bolsters that team to heights we didn't even get to see last year. And last year they were really good offensively, so they even got better. So, and they also have a good defense. So I like the Texans.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a three-team race. I think Tennessee's going to be bad. I think Jacksonville, Indianapolis, and Houston are kind of going to jockey around all season. I'm going to take Indianapolis. I thought they were good under Gardner Minshew, and now you got your guy back and healthy in Anthony Richardson, and you got Jonathan Taylor back. Um, they've got a lot of weapons, and then Mitchell out of Texas is now a third receiver. I think it's going to be a team that scores. It's a defense that's not bad. Um, I'm going to go with the Colts. They have a little bit of an easier schedule. The Houston Texans, unfortunately, get the first place schedule. So, compared to the year before, they played one of the easiest schedules. Now they get a hard schedule. I'm going to go with the Colts. I think it may be by a game. I still think the Texans probably get into the playoffs. But it's going to be hard to
That'll
see
be a
CJ
really
Stroud.
fun.
Sorry, go
I was
for
going
it.
to say that'll be a really fun quarterback division too. A lot of young quarterbacks in that division.
It's crazy to say. Trevor Lawrence is the oldest quarterback in that division. Weird to say. And then who do you got in the AFC East?
I like the Dolphins. There's no real other team that Patriots are rebuilding. The Bills, I think, just lost too much. I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to. I mean, Curtis Samuel or Khalil Shakir or he's not. Those guys shouldn't be ones. James Cook is kind of small for a running back, so I think Josh Allen is going to take a lot of those rushing attempts and even be kind of their goal line running back. So we'll see how his durability lasts all season. And I'm just not buying into the Jets. The Jets are going to jet somehow, so I like the Dolphins.
I'm actually going to take the Jets. I'm just got a feeling that offensively they've got enough weapons. It's a division that, as you say, kind of there's a lot of teams that shoot themselves in the foot. I think the Bills took a step backwards. I would take the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are going to find a way to mess it up. I think this is Rodgers' last year, and I think he's going to do everything possible to make it a good one, especially with the amount of talent they got. If they can stay healthy, that defense is really good. So it's just how healthy are they going to stay offensively? Jumping a couple weeks ahead, what do you have for your Super Bowl? What do you who's your winner? What's your matchup?
So I have the Chiefs over the Cowboys. Again, I said this before. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Last year, the Chiefs seemed like kind of an odd team. Everyone's like, yeah, they're good. They're going to make the playoffs, but they're not Super Bowl good, and then they proved us wrong. So until I see the Chiefs start their downtrend, which I don't even know what that's going to be. I mean, they bring in Xavier Worthy. I know they drafted a tight end to be the Kelsey replacement, but we're not there yet, so I'm not betting against the Chiefs.
They shockingly seem better. That said, I'm going to take something that is not the Chiefs. I'm actually going to go 49ers over the Ravens. So, matchup that I think we've been very close to seeing the last few years. I think we finally see it. Niners win, they get their Super Bowl. That's my pick. So, but let's jump into Week 1. We're gonna just rapid fire picks here, back and forth. I'll say the matchup. You give who you think is going to win. I'll do the same, kind of the same thing that we just did. But we're just going to jump right into it. Tonight's game, which is quite an exciting way to start the season, we got Baltimore going to Kansas City. Who you got?
This was a toss up to me. I'm going Chiefs just because they're at home. If this was in Baltimore, I'd go Baltimore, but I like Chiefs at home. It's always tough to pick week one games because we don't really know anything yet. So I know Patrick Mahomes is playing, and I sorry to beat a dead horse into the ground, but I'm going Chiefs at home.
I'm also going Chiefs. We got Green Bay playing Philly in Brazil.
I like the Eagles. I think the Packers are definitely on the up and up. Jordan Love is a great quarterback, and they have a plethora of wide receivers, but I think the Eagles just have a little too much experience, and Jalen Hurts is still a better quarterback than Jordan Love. So I got the
Also,
Eagles.
also I'm taking Philly. To Sunday morning games now. Pittsburgh traveling to Atlanta.
I'm going to kind of keep on the same trajectory here. We don't know too much about these teams yet. I know Russ got named the starter. He's not the Russell Wilson we knew of or we know of old. Falcons get to debut Kirk Cousins and all those Ferraris I talked about earlier, so I'm going to go Falcons at home.
I feel like this one could honestly go either way. I'm actually going to go take Pittsburgh. It's a literally coin flip game for me.
Yep.
Arizona traveling to Buffalo.
This is easy. Buffalo at home. West Coast teams. I don't know what the record is. That'd be a fun stat to look up. But West Coast teams traveling east, it's always it's always rough. The time change kind of kills them. So I like the Bills at home.
I like the Bills too. If they lose that game, that's going to be a lot of talk after week one for a team that, yeah, Buffalo will win that game, or I believe they will.
For both Buffalo
Tennessee,
and Cardinals, that'd be a lot of talk.
yeah. Tennessee traveling to Chicago. Caleb Williams debut.
I like the Bears. I think that the weapons help Caleb's numbers, and Will Levis. I know he's got a year under his belt. I'm just not sold on him quite yet. He's still, I mean, like I said, he's not a rookie, but I need to see something out of him to make me prove to me that this Titans team might be something. DeAndre Hopkins is also a little banged up, so we'll see if he plays or not. I think he's trending towards playing, but if he doesn't play, Bears.
I've also got the Bears. I also see this being the most overreaction game of the week. I think the Bears look good, but I think it's more because Tennessee's bad. And I think a lot of people come out of this week being like, oh, look, the Chicago Bears are for real in here, and they're going to actually be pretty average. New England traveling to Cincinnati.
Bengals. Jacoby Brissett's solid. I mean, he'll hold down the fort for the Patriots until Drake May is ready to play. But now that Jamar Chase is practicing, does he have a deal yet? I don't think he does. But I like the Bengals at home.
He was out on the practice field yesterday, so so that's a good sign. I'm taking the Bengals. I would be shocked if they lost that one at home. Houston traveling to Indianapolis.
I'm going Houston here. I think kind of the same, kind of the same thing I've been saying. I know I'm not picking the Colts because they're the home team, but Stroud, I know what I've seen from him from last year, whereas Anthony Richardson played like a game or two before getting hurt. So, again, it's another prove it to me type of game from Anthony Richardson. So I'm going to take Stroud and, you know, all his weapons that he's got with Tank Dell and Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon. So I like the Texans on the road.
If there's a game I could bet that's going to go to overtime, this is the game. I'm actually going to take Houston. I think this division beats up on one another. I know I took Indy to win this division, but Houston wins this game. But yeah, I think this division is just going to beat up on each other all season. Houston's my pick on that one. Jacksonville going to Miami.
I like Miami. Everyone's healthy for the most part. That's a team that I know in the NFL you can get injured at any time based on a hit you take, but Tyreek's healthy, Waddle's healthy, A Chain, who's a smaller running back, even though he might only get 10, 12, 13 looks a game, he's kind of a gadget type running back who might finish with like crazy numbers, but again, he seems like someone, he's like 180 pounds, so if he gets whacked a couple times, I mean, he's not built, he's not sturdy, so I don't know if he can stand up to being like a bell cow. Not that we have bell cows in the NFL anymore, per se, but Dolphins have everyone right now healthy. So for now, week one, I like the Dolphins at home.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Miami. Miami, those first 10 weeks of the season, always tough to bet against. It's the cold weather that really hurts them. Carolina going to New Orleans, and this is the cheapest ticket of the week. You can get in there for $20 right now. But Carolina going to New Orleans.
I like the Saints, and because of their defense, I like the Saints. I don't think that either of these teams offensively are going to be all that great unless Bryce Young has a sophomore rebound, but I'm not a big Derek Carr fan. So I think the Saints' defense is what propels them to, keep that Panthers offense down, and this could be a really low scoring game with, I'm gonna predict a Saints defensive touchdown and the Saints win at home.
I'm also taking the Saints. I also expect that game to be pretty ugly. Uh, Following that up, though, the game that I think is the worst game of the week, Minnesota going to the Giants.
I like the Vikings just because they have the best player on the field. I think a healthy Justin Jefferson can make any quarterback look good. Sam Darnold's not terrible. He's not someone I want running my franchise, but what are you going to do? JJ McCarthy's out for the year. Daniel Jones doesn't do it for me. What is this, season 5, year 5 for him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Thanks.
I like the Vikings on the road.
This is year 6. Because he was
Is it
Kyler's
really?
year.
Wow.
Yeah, because he was drafted in Kyler's year, so he got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. This is year 6. How is he still quarterback? I'm
Well,
taking
this
Minnesota.
is the year that he has to prove it because Shador
Yeah,
Sanders will be breathing down his throat in next year's draft.
yeah. So I'll take Minnesota there. Going to the afternoon games, we got Las Vegas traveling to LA to play the Chargers.
Sorry, Harbaugh, your first win's not going to come in week one. I like the Raiders on the road. Antonio Pierce is an Arizona guy, and I just think the ground and pound attack with Zamir White, Devontae Adams as like a security blanket on the outside, and that Raiders defense with Max Crosby, I think is just too much for Herbert and no one to throw to.
Yeah, I think it could be ugly, but I am going to take the Chargers. Expect like a 16-13 game here. Um, Denver going to Seattle.
I like the Seahawks at home. Geno Smith he's fine. He's a solid quarterback. Broncos have Bo Nix, which again, it's too easy. I shouldn't say it's too easy, but I'm not picking rookie quarterbacks to win week one. I like Seahawks at home.
Yeah, I don't know why I circled Denver, but I did. So I guess I took Denver. Looking at that now, I think going into the 12th man is very tough. Bo Nix, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I guess I selected Denver. I guess when I selected this, I had a reason. I'll stick to it. I'll stick with Denver. Could be a toss-up game. I'll leave it at that. Going into Seattle is never easy. Maybe Bo Nix goes nuts. I don't know. Dallas going to Cleveland. I think this is a good matchup.
Yeah, this is a great matchup. I like the Cowboys on the road. Actually, this is a battle of two really good defenses. I just think
Yep.
Dak has proven it to me more, so I'm going with what I know going into week one, and that's Dak can play quarterback. Deshaun Watson, I'm not sold on yet. I know he has been good in the past, but like I said in my division prediction, I need to see something from Deshaun. So, maybe if Chubb was healthy, that helped lean towards Cleveland a little bit, but I like the Cowboys on the road.
I
Micah
also take.
Parsons is going to terrorize Deshaun Watson as well.
I also took the Cowboys in this one. Washington going to Tampa Bay. Daniels' rookie debut.
Yeah, this is interesting. I think Baker Mayfield is a completely solid quarterback. I know I keep using the same words, but like he was the number one pick in his draft class, and he hasn't quite lived up to that sort of expectation. But he's not a bad quarterback. You're not upset if Baker Mayfield is your starting quarterback. I think Mike Evans isn't still has a little bit left in the tank. Chris Godwin is solid. Rashad White might be one of the most underrated running backs I think in the NFL, and I just don't think Jaden Daniels wins his first game. I like the Buccaneers at home.
I will take Tampa Bay as well. Going to Sunday Night Football, we got the Rams going to Detroit. Match a rewind to last year's playoff.
I like the Rams, kind of like what I was saying about Miami. Everyone's healthy right now for the Rams. I think Puka might be a little banged up, but he's supposed to play. But you have a healthy Cooper Kupp, so use that to your advantage, LA and Matthew Stafford. So, I mean, this is a rematch, like you had said. So I like the Rams on the road just to avenge last year's playoff loss.
I've actually got Detroit in this one. I expect this one to be high scoring and pretty explosive. This will be a good Sunday Night Football watch, in my opinion. And then moving to Monday Night Football, very fun matchup. We got the Jets. We got the 49ers. Will Aaron Rodgers get more than one play this year? It's a rewind from last year. Jets, Niners, in San Francisco. Who do you got?
As long as Rodgers doesn't run out with the flag, his ACL will stay intact. He'll make it through this game. Unfortunately, he's not going to win it. I like the Niners. Christian McCaffrey is just too good, and their defense is also very good. Ayuk's back under contract. Debo is a weird player in the best way possible. Literally, he can play wide receiver and run a route. He can take end arounds. He can get the ball handed off to him and make plays. He's just a freak athlete. I like the Niners at home.
I like the Niners as well. I also feel like this game is going to get very much overanalyzed. While I said the Sunday night game is going to have an explosive offense, a lot of scoring, I see this to be explosive defensive-wise, not a lot of scoring. I think both these defenses make both offenses look pretty bad. And I think a lot of people will be talking, what's up with the Jets? What's up with the Niners on the offensive side of the ball? It's just going to be two defenses kind of killing each other week one. So that's our recap for week one. As you can tell, we're excited that football is back. We're going to jump into college football. Before we jump into week two, James, is there anything you want to talk about from week one, week zero? Florida State sucks. They're not any good. Is there any other takeaways before we jump into just a couple matchups that we want to talk about in week two here on the college front?
Yeah, let me look at my notes that I wrote down. Colorado NDSU. I thought that was a pretty fun game. I was cheering for NDSU. Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are basically the only two players you need to know from that game. They're the only players of note. They're going to the NFL. I'm not sold on Colorado, but those two are good. Minnesota UNC, I tuned into a little bit on Friday. That was a good game. UNC, while they're normally a basketball school, for some reason the last couple of years they've been producing quarterbacks, and they're ranked typically. They had kind of bad news though, because their transfer quarterback Max Johnson, son of Brad Johnson, back on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he broke his foot and he's out for the year, so that sucks. I'm not sure if that's going to derail UNC's season or not. I don't know who their backup is, but typically when you lose a starting quarterback, it's not good. So that could derail UNC. Clemson, Georgia, I think there's nothing that really needs to be said about that game if you look at the score. Georgia's the best team in the country. Clemson, Dabo Sweeney, actually, if I'm talking to you, maybe go after the transfer portal because your offense and defense looked terrible. So Unfortunately, we live in a day and age where the NIL deals and transfer portal is the future. So, regardless of your opinions on it, you know, go get some of those players because you're going to be out of a job soon if you're putting up performances like that. Miami, Florida, that was a interesting game. Miami's legit. They got Cam Ward. I know we talked about that in the preview show from Washington State. Cam Ward's legit. Um, Another fun fact: Cam McCormick, who's in like his seventh
Ninth,
or eighth year of eligibility, he started in
ninth,
2017.
ninth year,
Ninth.
ninth
So
year.
seventh year of playing, ninth year of eligibility. He caught a
He,
touchdown, so that's pretty cool.
I think it was the stat with him was when he was a freshman in college, or his first year in college. I think it was Caleb Williams was a middle schooler.
And I think the Obama administration was still going on.
It was. It was. Started at Oregon.
Yeah. Well, good for him. He's
9 years. I mean, hey, 9 years of college. That would have been fun for all of us.
yeah, for real. Notre Dame, I think, has a really, really good defense. To go in and win at Texas A&M, that's pretty big.
Yep.
Michigan, they're in for a rough year. They played Fresno State way too close for my liking. I don't think they really have a quarterback, and I don't even know who their coach is. So, coming off of a national championship, they're in for a rough year. We kind of predicted that, though, I think, going from last week's
Well,
podcast. USC LSU, I think on paper, last year would have been awesome with Caleb Williams against Jaden Daniels. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see that, but I thought both quarterbacks impressed me a lot. It was like Newhouser, whatever his name is for LSU. He looked solid, and then Miller Moss on USC was also solid. Also has a really good defense, so they impressed me. And then the homer pick for me, U of A did not impress me entirely. I know we won 61-39. Defense looked a little sketchy, but Fafita and T-Mac are in midseason form. And, I mean, McMillan had the most receiving yards out of any wide receiver in the country. So 10 catches, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So that was fun to watch. And he's, arguably or not, I think the best wide receiver in the country.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of things of note just from my end. Oregon looks worrisome. How the hell did that happen? They pull out a win, but they're going to get really challenged this weekend. USC, legitimately, you can put them in the playoff contender picture confidently now. First time in I don't know how many years. It feels like a long time. They actually have a defense. Moss looked great last year in the Holiday Bowl. A lot of people questioned, is this just a, Pat standing, you're in a bowl game that no one really cares about, they just balled out, or is it real? Going and beating LSU, again on a neutral site, very impressive. USC is going to be a tough out, whoever they play throughout the year. Penn State's going to be really good. They manhandled West Virginia on the road. As you said, Michigan is going to be interesting. They got a 2-quarterback set going on right now. We're going to talk about the Texas game in a second. That's going to be tough. Notre Dame going into College Station was impressive. College Station never an easy place to win. Miami's going to be good. Florida State's going to be bad. Clemson, even though they didn't score a touchdown, I think Georgia is the best team in the country right now. And then the other one, too, I know Alabama played Western Kentucky, but Alabama didn't look like they missed much of a step without Saban. Granted, Western Kentucky, but granted, we saw what Oregon did with Idaho. You can slip up on these games and not look very good. Alabama looked like Alabama. So those were kind of the big takeaways that I took from week one. And obviously, college football, I feel like, is more explosive than the NFL. NFL, you get kind of on a train, you kind of begin to pick up, okay, these teams are good, these teams are bad. from week to week with college football, things can flip on a dime. We've seen teams look unbelievable one week, and then the very next week they look like trash. So, who knows what we got coming in? But we've got 6 games that we're going to highlight really quick, just to give your picks really fast. Some of the best 6, well, 5 plus your homer. Uh, you want to do? We want to do your homer pick right away. Want to go U of A NAU really quick?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
start
U of A
that.
is going to win that game.
Yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
they lose. They lost to NAU a couple years ago, which is super embarrassing. They're not going to lose this game at home. They just have, even if their defense is allowing points, NAU is not going to be able to stop Fafita and McMillan. So I think the big storyline is how does T Mac follow up that performance of 10 catches, 304 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's pretty hard. Like, he's not going to top that. There's just no way. But why not go for 200 yards against a FCS team? So
Yep.
I'll watch it. It's on ESPN Plus, like late night. So might as well watch one of the best quarterbacks and one of the best receivers. Actually, you know what? The best quarterback receiver combo in the country. I said
Pretty
it.
good. That's pretty good.
Probably not the only one to say it, but
Well, so we'll jump right in from that. We'll jump into the only top 10 matchup of the weekend. Texas going to Michigan. Who do you got in this one?
I like Texas by multiple touchdowns. Michigan hasn't shown me anything to think that they can put up any sort of fight against Texas. Quinn Ewers is also a very good quarterback. We saw a little bit of Arch Manning last week, which was fun, but I think Texas just has too many guys, and Michigan doesn't have enough guys. And I like Texas by double digits.
I got Texas winning that one as well. Jumping to a rivalry game, Iowa State taking on number 21 Iowa. This game is in Iowa. Iowa scored a lot of points last week, which is weird. But the line goes down to the mid 30s. This is always a notorious 16-12 game or something. What do you got in this one?
So a fun stat I heard: a wide receiver for Iowa scored 2 touchdowns last week, and it was the first time not since a wide receiver from Iowa had done that in a week, but since an Iowa receiver had done that in a season. So the receiver scored 2 touchdowns in the game. There was an entire year where Iowa receivers, it might have been last year to be honest, who knows when that stat was from, but a receiver scored 2 touchdowns all year, and then the receiver scores 2 touchdowns just in 1 week. So yeah, my big storyline is, what do we make of this Iowa offense? Are they actually going to be able to score more than like 20 points a game? I don't know. Over under is set at 35.5, so this will probably be a boring defensive game. But I like Iowa at home.
I'll take Iowa at home too. But yeah, it is interesting to see, will they have an offense? I mean, they have to have anything compared to what they had last year. Another top 25 game, we got Tennessee going to NC State.
I don't really know much about either of these teams. I didn't watch either of Tennessee or NC State. NC State normally has a pretty solid defense. Tennessee, I know they lost Joe Milton, so I'm not sure who their new quarterback is, but I'm just going to go by ranking. So I like Tennessee on the road, maybe by a field goal.
Yep, that's kind of how the same I feel. I'm taking Tennessee. Usually not great taking the road team in these cases, but I'll take Tennessee. I feel good about them, and I'm just going to put that on the rest. Boise State, Oregon. This is going to be interesting. Oregon favored by 19.5 right now, which I think is a lot compared to what we saw last week. Granted, Oregon did move the ball. They just couldn't get into the end zone. They couldn't put points on the board. Does that change this week?
I think we see the Oregon that we're supposed to be finally. I shouldn't say finally, it's week 2. But I think we see the Oregon we're supposed to see with Dylan Gabriel. Boise State's fun. I mean, they're one of those teams where if they win their conference, they're going to be vying for that 12-team playoff. their running back, at least from 1 week, 6 touchdowns is insane. So really, it's the Oregon defense that needs to come to play if this Boise State ground game is really all that it's cracked up to be. But I think Oregon should be able to handle Boise State again by double digits.
Yeah, I think Oregon wins. It's at home. Boise State is one of the better non-power five schools. They are vying for that last spot. Um, but I do believe Oregon wins, and I do believe they find a way to get into the end zone. And then the only game that we're going to talk about right now that is not featuring two top 25 teams, and just because there's a lot of eyeballs on it, Colorado taking on Nebraska. I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of talk from both these schools.
I just hope Nebraska wins. I don't think Colorado's good, so we need to stop giving these guys primetime coverage. I mean, great. They have Shedeur Sanders. He's a top 5, top 10 draft pick. They have Travis Hunter, who I saw in a mock draft today. He was doing number 1 overall. I think as a wide receiver, he's unbelievable. I'm not sold on him as a cornerback, and obviously in the NFL, he's going to have to pick one, which will probably be wide receiver. But Nebraska just needs to win this game to just shut up all of Colorado and all their bandwagon fans and shut up Coach Prime. And they very well can. Nebraska's got a really good quarterback. I can't think of his name, but
I'm in agreement with
he
you.
was the number one.
Yeah,
He was the number 1 high school kid.
I think Nebraska wins. I think Colorado is just is a fun 500 team. They got a lot of talent, and I think those two guys are going to be very good in the NFL, and they're basically leading the team. They've got a couple other good guys, but it's a 500 team, and I'm going to take Nebraska here. So
Dylan Raiola, that's the quarterback, true freshman. And I think he's from. I think he played in Arizona.
Oh, really? You looking it up?
He's getting Patrick Mahomes comparisons, probably just because of his
Yeah.
hair. He can sling it. He's a good quarterback, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I like Nebraska at home.
All right, James. Any final thoughts before we log off on this one?
Not really. In baseball news, I'm curious to see if Otani can get to 50-50. Other than that, that's kind of the big storyline from baseball.
I
But
think he's gonna. I think
no,
he's
I'm
gonna
just
do it.
excited for fantasy and our dynasty team and red zone.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good week. And guys, thank you so much for watching up to this point. As you can tell, it's gonna be a lot of football talk from now until February. So sit back, relax, enjoy, guys. The wonderful Sundays, actually the back-to-back Saturday Sundays are back. Until next week, thank you so much for watching. We'll see y'all soon.